Who is an African here? Yeah. So Africa is rising. This is a term that has been coined to describe Africa's rapid growth since 2000 and the inevitability of the continuation of further rapid growth on the continent. Yes, Africa is rising. Uganda, where I come from, reduced poverty from 56% to 19%. GDP growth in the whole of East Africa is over 5%. The middle class is growing. You guys, middle class right there. And urbanization is fastest in the world. Therefore, we have local markets, we have regional markets, and we have global markets for us. Africa also is gifted. We are so incredibly resource-rich. We have people. 1.7 billion people, both men and women, highly educated. We are sitting in a university today. Very skilled and very entrepreneurial. So the services have worked for us so far. That's what driving our economies right now. Education, health, finance, ICT, the service sectors. Agriculture has huge potential. We can produce food. We'll feed the world. Minerals, oil and gas. Tourism. We still have the animals. No one else does, hardly. And land. We have land that is not being utilized or is greatly underutilized. So Africa will rise. But it will only do that if we, as Africa, can begin to export value-added products. The existing trade imbalance between us and others is caused by exporting commodities. We still, unfortunately, largely export commodities. And we import those expensive finished products that we all love. Africa, for example, produces 75% of cocoa in the world. And out of the $100 billion that the chocolate market is, we got 2%. We got 2%. So, similarly, coffee, tea, you name it, cotton, that's the situation. So, we are gifted, we agree. We have all these resources. Why is value addition not happening as it should? And value addition basically is manufacturing. Why isn't it happening? Number one, the biggest problem was infrastructure. Without energy, it's expensive, it's unreliable. That's what we had. Transport, our railway, you know how that was, how that is, and the roads, and airlines, we had faced various problems. But I'm happy to report on that front, government focus on infrastructure is huge. There's a lot happening. I'm excited about the standard gauge railway, for example, that's happening between Nairobi all the way to Kigali, and that's fantastic, that's incredible. So solutions are being found for that number one challenge that we've been facing. The second challenge, land for investment. Land in Africa is personal. It belongs to us, and it's something we all take very seriously. We need land if we are going to add value. We need land for industry, particularly. We do need land for agriculture. We need land for other things. So, in order to add value, the land challenge must be addressed. And this is in Uganda, much of Africa, land belongs to the people. Status, investors can come and buy and lease land. African investors in their own places, in their own countries, can buy land and own it. Foreigners can lease land, which is okay, 45 years, 99 years, and then it comes back to the country or the local owners, which is fine. The challenge is, can you get that land? Is it easily accessible? And the truth of the matter is it not. Investors are forced to buy bad land, which is unused, wetlands, forests, and they're scattered. So we have not industrial parks, but investors, companies scattered all over the country, which makes it very difficult for government officials as well. It's very difficult for the investor themselves. They have to put roads in place, they have to have sewage, they have all these things. which makes their business really uncompetitive. But even government officials, it's difficult for the labor unions and the labor officers and the revenue authority and others to get to these companies that are scattered all over the place. So, what is the solution? Industrial parks in all urban centers are critical. We must, as Africans, have industrial areas in all urban centers in order to add value, make it easy. What are the advantages? There's immediate access to serviced land in an industrial park. The investor does not have to take months and years trying to sort out all these problems I talked about earlier. It's electricity, it's water. They need three-phase electricity, so it's not just any old electricity. You don't just set up in the village and hope you can set up an industry. You can't. So those are problems. Then government officials can help you, we hope, most times, and also oversee, regulate whatever you're doing. There's proximity to other companies, so the value chain. You have your suppliers of packaging all around you in the same area, and you have proximity to logistics. You need to export, for example. We're talking about exports here. So the train station, you know, the logistics come together for all of you in the industrial area. So what needs to be done? Yes, I know we have some industrial areas. You've seen some. They're around. We need to plan our cities better. And in planning the cities and the towns, even the smaller towns are going to grow. I talked about urbanization earlier. They're going to grow. So you need to plan early to have land for industry demarcated in all urban centers. And it's not a small amount of land, maybe about 1,000 acres. Some companies need up to 50 acres just for one company. So about 1,000 acres. You need to plan, what do you want? What is in your interest as a nation? Is it agro-processing zones? Is it export zones? Is it heavy industry? And special economic zones will be essential for our companies to set up quite easily. Then we need to give incentives for manufacturing. These exist in quite a number of countries already, in the form of accelerated depreciation, export incentives, tax holidays, and such, and then skills availability. Where are the skills? I know in a country like mine, all vocational colleges were made into universities, and we lost that middle group of technocrats that the manufacturers need. We need to move backwards and make sure we have the technical skills that these people need. So to wrap up, by enabling manufacturing and therefore value addition to Africa's rich resources through industrial park development, Africa will continue to rise. We will succeed. Thank you very much.